Hey guys, welcome back to iAllegedly, and I've got a good one for you today because we have Bob Kudla from Trade Genius, and I want to thank you first of all
Yeah,
because Bob's been traveling all over the place, and Japan, is that right? You just got back from Japan
and Korea.
and Korea. Okay, wow. But I'm like, we got to get together soon. People are asking guys questions. How about tomorrow morning? So I'm sorry I didn't announce this in advance, but you guys get Bob Kudla, and I know everybody's is ask Bob this, ask Bob that. But thank you for being here.
Yeah, I didn't even have a chance to get a haircut yet. I said, Dan, let me just get a haircut. And he said,
No,
no, you need to come down right away.
so
So
this is
anyway,
great.
I'm happy to do it.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So much happening. First things first, let's cover. There was a quarter-point rate cut that did nothing for the market. I mean, it's basically was priced into everything.
Yeah. So that's, that was well known. One thing about the stock market people need to know about is that if something's known, it doesn't react. What you react to is the unknown. And what happened from there was people also expected Powell to say that he's going to cut again in December. And he said that the feedback from his committee said that maybe they should pause in December. He's still mad at Trump.
Don't,
And
don't, don't.
yeah. So
It's
what's that? I can't say that.
no, 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 no. It's funny. You can totally say that, but it's so funny and so obvious that
Yeah.
he's like, you know what? We may not cut, and there may not be a reason to do that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy just does. He wants to go out with not with a bang, but with a, just like some petulant child that's angry. You know.
Well, look, I mean, there's a war going on between the Fed and the Treasury here. So, with I don't know how much time we have today, but the rise of Tether and Bitcoin is basically is going to obviate the need for the Federal Reserve out in the next couple of years. Tether now holds it's in 17th place in the amount of treasuries it holds, and eventually it will be number one. It's causing the great sucking sound coming out of Europe and Asia. A lot of money's pouring into the United States now, and it's all going to go in Tether because Tether pays a yield. And so what you're going to see happen here is that uh, other currencies are going to fall against the dollar, and it's going to drive our financing costs down. And at some point, right now, look, why should 12 people determine what our money supply is? It should be the people you elect, and that's all going to go back to the Treasury. And so I think they're pissed at that. They're globalists, so they don't want the tariffs, right? They want the United States to basically be the big sponge, and they're mad at that. And they also know that Powell got caught. He has 2,200 PhDs working for him, and they couldn't figure out that tariffs wouldn't be inflationary. He's mad at that. And so, we have to deal with this till March. But my expectation, there will be a December rate cut. There'll be 3 more rate cuts before the next election. So we'll have mortgage rates back
You're
down into the
talking
low
about
fours.
midterm election.
Midterm elections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be at zero. Switzerland actually yesterday said we're going to go negative again on rates. So I bought
Wow.
a couple Swiss companies, that are denominated in Swiss francs, because even if they don't do anything, the price of those shares are going to go up.
Tell that. What are those right now?
Well, the main one is Rig.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's a they moved their operating company into Switzerland, and so they're on the Swiss franc. The other one you're gonna have to wait for the webinar.
Okay. We'll talk about this a couple times. Bob has announced, he goes, I'll come out, but let's do another webinar because the last few were so successful. So middle of the month, we're going to pick the date around November 15-ish. We're going to have another webinar, and it's going to be $399 for the webinar. And as a Black Friday special, if you sign up between now and next Friday, so basically the 7th of the month, if you sign up between now and then, you will get Bob's Trade Genius, gold package, the big one, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call that package, you get that for a year. So that is super cool. Not just the chat room, but you get the whole package. So that's an amazing Black Friday deal. So
Yep.
That's basically, guys, that's $1,000 right there worth of stuff that Bob charges everybody for a year, and you'll get it included with the webinar. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you only get it here.
Okay.
So Dad's the only one that gets that deal.
No, I appreciate that. I really, really do. So, okay. So the stock market, are we in a bubble right now? As everybody says, I hate to use that term and be generic, but
Yeah. So really, what's happening here is some really weird things are happening. For people who know the stock market, we had, excuse me, we've had 2 Hindenburgs in the month of October. Those are omens that say the market's going to crash. Okay, it never happens, and the market keeps getting, elevated. The other thing that happened is that you never cut rates during a all-time highs, and we did that. What that means is that next year the market could be up 20%. So we're getting these conflicting data points flying at each other. But the one thing that really got us all nervous is that you have, as the stock market is hitting all-time highs with the smallest amount of all-time high stocks, it's also have the largest amount of 52-week new lows. So basically the market is, it's like, you ever see a cartoon when they're trying to dig up to the surface, right? Yeah. Okay, somebody's going to walk on that and it's going to go right through. Look what happened today. I mean, you had, I think Chipotle was down like 15 or 20% this week. If you, not Apple, but Meta got whacked. Apple got whacked, yesterday earnings report. So if you just miss your growth by a smidge, you're just going to get your head handed to you. And that's what's going to happen is that, and what really gets me nervous, what people don't realize is that the market is index market cap related. I mean, so as stocks go up, they make the index go up, but less and less stocks are doing it. When those fall, no matter how good the other stocks do, the whole index falls, and it causes those stocks to fall with it. And people aren't prepared for that. And I think there's kids today that turned 18 and have never really seen a stock market crash.
No, haven't seen a real estate crash either. They still think it's going to go up, 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 up. So, since we're mentioning real estate, you've got areas of the country that are in huge, huge trouble. You've got the insurance problem here in California. You've got the state just announced that they're going to make all of us that own homes pay for, as a supplement, the fire victims, and people are trying to brag about all this construction being done in the Palisades and in the Eaton area, and it's terrible because there's nothing being built. I mean, there's less than 100 building permits that have been issued in the Palisades, and there were 12,000 homes that burnt down. So, there should be 700 houses under construction right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a game they keep playing here, and it's not just California. I mean, Florida has a big insurance mess, even though they got everything you think going for them, but all those condos are 40, 50, 60 years old. They've been under invested in terms of their reserves, and we have it here. Even where I live, there's a big war going on, with the homeowner association with fees. Our fees jumped 50% in 2 years because they underinvested the reserves, and they overspending for services, and and there's going to be a lot of come to Jesus moments coming up here pretty soon. And employment, the thing that really gets me worried, I'm sorry I cut you off, that most of the jobs that are going to go away in the next 5 years average $70,000 a year. So it's not the blue collar workers, it's the white collar workers. And so you have a situation here where they're getting totally wiped out. And so, that's where FICA is funded. Okay, that's where Medicare is funded, those jobs. And they're just all being replaced by AI agents and simplification in the business. If you walk into a grocery store now, the number of SKUs are falling. And I won't mention the store's name, but I know somebody very close to me that is involved in inventory at the large grocery stores, and their daily product movement's down 40%. This is the packaged goods side. What that tells me is that people are just buying the basics.
Yeah, and then one more thing is that I know a friend that's in logistics, and I'm not allowed to say the name of his company either, but they supply all the grocery stores, and the number one product that they're moving the most of, two things: ramen noodles and cup of noodles.
Yeah.
And they're doing thousands of cases a day, and they're doing hundreds of pallets, which is thousands of cases a day of those two products. And like he told me last night, we're definitely in a recession right now because this stuff is moving and the stores can't keep it in fast enough. So, again, a $2 product that people are buying hand over fist right now just to get themselves by right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people take on, the Christmas gig work. Those are all going away. Amazon just announced massive, they're automating everything,
yes.
And Walmart's automating everything. And I'll tell you a wild story. I know we're going to talk about Snap here, is that Walmart cash flow is negative if there's no Snap.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
so
my God, that's
think about that.
fantastic.
Their whole business model is based on food stamps, and which is just amazing to me. It's one of the largest corporations in the world, and it can't survive without food stamps.
Well, here's something for you that I just found out today. Um, Number of people that are on food stamps in LA County, I couldn't find it for Orange County, 1.5 million people. Of the 41.7 million people, 1.5 are in LA County alone. That's insane, guys. And you've got areas that are going to go on tactical alert this weekend because they're concerned about it. Barstow, it's a desert community between Los Angeles and Vegas. They're going on tactical alert this weekend because, like I've said before, the nicest thing in Barstow is you driving through it. So to get to Vegas.
Yeah, they have. This happened once before. There was a glitch in Chicago with their food stamp program, and it went offline for I think 12 hours, and people were rioting and just raiding the grocery stores. These grocery stores are going to get totally wiped out, and so I know you're telling me ahead of time, shop before Saturday and
Well,
hunker
I'm
down.
telling everybody to be careful and shop. And I've had dozens of people call me and have me explain it to them, and I've sent the video, and that video killed it right now. But it's unfortunate because the problem with it is when the police are reacting to this, this is not going to get resolved between now and then, guys. They're just not. And there's
Well, it's already too late because you need 14 days. Once they shut it down, you need 14 days to
oh,
reinvigorate it. So it's going to be a mess. And the thing
wow.
about it is, you're already having cities that are basically what they call them food ghettos now because but can you imagine how many grocery stores won't reopen, after this if that happens?
Oh, absolutely.
So and so it's going to be really interesting to see, but uh, it's just a sign of the times that we're in. But at the same time, there are places where you can make money in the market. It's
Well, that's the thing you've always said. It doesn't, and you don't. You've always said you can make money if things are bad. But let's talk about this. The economy is struggling right now. It's not doing gangbusters. We're trying to hang on to this right now. That's where we're at right now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh no, we're in a glide path right now. So, but you get fooled by numbers. I mean, that's my world is numbers. So, remember, averages and median are two different things. And so you can have two rich people that can have an average look pretty good, and you have 10 people can't even buy food. So so we have a situation where certain parts of the country are already we call recessionary. There's a map that they produce every month that shows states that are considered what's called recessionary, and so now I think we're at up to like 36 states that are considered recessionary, and everything's kind of being carried by a few businesses and a few states. And you know the old adage is a recession is when somebody lost their job. A depression is when you
You
lose your
lose your
job.
job. Yeah.
So what we're having now is where what's kind of hiding a lot of this is people are just not going back to work. They're retiring.
Well,
You
we
know,
saw that during COVID, and
yeah.
people were like, I don't want to work for these kids. I don't want to work for these idiots. I want to follow these rules. And then they quit. Then they realized that their money ran out real quick. They had 2 and 3 years worth of money. And now some of these people can't find a job. And the people that have found jobs are very, very lucky. But um, let's, so it just, it is, this is going to happen. This is going to happen, guys. But
Yeah.
the stock market, you know, Bob runs Trade Genius. Bob runs a trading platform, and Bob has been my go-to guy now for, gosh, it's been 3 years now, brother, that you've been doing this for me. So thank you for coming on, and thank you for doing
I
this. And
feel 3 years older too.
no, but you also, you get plugs and stuff from me, but it's nice just because I value your know-how. And one thing that you've pushed me on were metals, and how you were talking about how gold and silver have not seen their finest day yet. And we saw both of them hit their all-time highs. Then they came down a little bit. Like you said, they fell with Bitcoin. But what do you think about metals right now?
Oh, I just reloaded this week, so I kind of went almost to cash when I went on vacation. I was gone for 3 weeks, so I didn't want to have to deal with it because in Asia you
What's
can't. In Asia you can't. You're going to bed when the market opens and
yeah.
you wake up when the market's closed. So I didn't want to deal with all that stuff. And my IRAs I left alone, but my trading accounts I pretty much put them on autopilot. And so I sold all my gold and silver in the beginning of September, and And now I just went back into Hecla and the Wheaton, but you could pick your gold and silver miner.
Okay.
So they're going to make their move back. What we found out in this situation is gold likes chaos and Bitcoin likes liquidity, and so there's a war going on now between Bitcoin and gold. So it seems like people are pouring out of gold. The gold degenerates sell, they run into Bitcoin. The Bitcoin degenerates sell, they run back to gold. And so, we have Bitcoin now. We think it may bottom again at 109. If things get 104, if things get really bad, it'll go down to 98. Strong support.
So the number's 104, but you really think it may get bad. If it gets bad, it's going to go down to 98.
Then okay. Yeah, that's really strong. That's strong support. And okay. And I don't play. I don't own Bitcoin, but I trade the stock market derivatives of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of ways you could play it and get these really good dividends out there. And so I'll talk about those in the seminar. But that's the way I like to play. I like to have everything in one place. And the derivative, all the rage was when we talked last time was by like MicroStrategy and by this and by that because they own Bitcoin. Well, the Bitcoin balance sheet companies all got blown up. Okay. And so, although MicroStrategy just reported good earnings, so we'll see how that plays out.
The sign up, you guys will sign up at bobstradingclass.com. We'll set up the same page as before. So stay tuned to that. And again, if you guys buy it between now and next Friday, you will get Trade Genius for a year. And again, if you buy it on Saturday, a week from Saturday, the deal is not that you don't get it. So buy it early and we'll pick the date. It will be midweek. It's going to be after the market closes. Usually Bob does it right around 2 o'clock Pacific time is when we usually start it.
Yeah, we go for an hour and a half. I'll walk you through some really interesting things that we use that you get access to anyway. And then also some of the trades that I've been making. And look, I'm already locked in for November. So there's ways I can show you where you can have what's called low volatility risk owning shares and picking up really big dividends. And so I could walk people through how that works for people that are a little bit more sophisticated, and then also some easy ways to play the weekly bumps. A lot of these high dividend yielding plays now are weekly. And so I just did one with Netflix. There's one called NFLW. You buy it on the day they do their ex-dividend date. They pay a weekly dividend. And then you wait for it to exceed the amount of dividend that you expect to get the next week. And then you that's your sell price. So you take it out ahead of time so you don't deal with the dividend decay. And so at the end of the day, right after the market closed on Thursday, Netflix announced a 10-for-1 stock split. Stock popped up after market went in there. We hit our profit target, got out.
Oh, wow.
So, a quick 1.5%. Now I always tell people, 1%, no, it's nothing. Multiply that by 50 and you get what? 50%.
Yeah.
I'd take that all day long, especially if you're in the stock for 3 days. And that's what we do. So, our system works well, and it has what's called a positive profit factor and a positive a win rate.
I want to emphasize this. I've seen people over the years that have started out with hundreds of dollars with you that have built it up quite a bit and learned how to do this and then put more money into it. You don't need to have $3 million to start this. You can start out with very little money and get the advice and be able to ask Bob questions directly, which is what everybody wants. So, okay.
Yeah, some of these stocks are $3, $4, $5, and they're paying 50% annualized dividends. So there's a ways to play this. You don't need a whole lot of money. And we had some people, just to brag for a second, we had a couple of people that retired by using Trade Genius too. So,
but the dividends, I believe in the dividends, and because I always try to trick myself into saying I'm a young man, I want to believe that the dividends just by reinvesting them. I had an aunt that died recently and worked for the phone company that was eventually turned into AT&T and never cashed a paycheck and never sold a share of her stock, and it just rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. So
yeah, look, I'm the same way. If you guys don't know me by now, I'm not a big hype guy. I don't. You get rich quick. You don't get rich quick. You get broke quick. You get rich slowly, and But I'm always looking. How do I monetize? I don't own anything that I can't generate a yield off of. That's why I don't like real estate as much as I like stocks, because I can make my money and get out, make my money and get out.
One of your biggest stocks you've talked a lot about has been Exxon, and Exxon just announced a major that they're having a reshuffle in the company, and they're having a lot of layoffs. But it's the oil and gas company. So what do you think about them right now? What's your feeling in the future
Oh,
for
I
them?
love them, and they're going to get into oil field, Tobago, Trinidad down there,
Okay.
and they're also next to Guyana, next to Venezuela. And as soon as the Russia thing's resolved, Russia's going to invite ExxonMobil back into Russia, and they're also just accumulating. I showed my partner actually on Thursday. I showed him, using our system. Look, I just own it and sell dividends against it. That's because it's a family heirloom. But I said, you're going to trade this thing 3 times in October, made 15% on ExxonMobil. And guess what? ExxonMobil went nowhere. Just to show you, just to play you can play the wiggles. And it's a very obedient technical stock. So, but it's going to probably next year, it'll probably hit 148, 150 area.
Okay.
That's my mortgage pair, by the way. When it hits that, I'm selling half, paying the mortgage off.
Okay.
So.
But this is the same guy that bought a new truck last year and
Paid for, and a new Lexus, and paid for both.
Yeah, paid for both, but then came out here and goes, "Hey, from trading, look what I bought my wife." So clearly, okay. And
I did this on the dividend payers too, guys. Okay, so I financed to both of them, but paid them both off within 4 to 6 months each.
Okay. Wow.
We can show you how to do it. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, I was like the biggest skeptic on this stuff. Well, I'll just show it to you. I have no dog in the sun. You're not gonna give me money,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna show you how these things work. It's amazing. We just laugh in the room. Like, how come more people don't do this?
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's looking for up, 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 and people want to buy something for 50 cents and have it go to $80. And it just doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, everything's overbought right now. So that's the thing. I think, gold and silver probably okay. Oil and gas is okay. The reason why that hasn't taken off is because, Trump keeps promising $2 gasoline. So has everybody nervous. But you notice, he's trying to cut a deal with Japan, Korea, and China to sell our Alaskan oil. And so, that puts pressure on energy prices, because if they buy that stuff, it's going to raise domestic prices. Although there's a bit of an oil glut out there too, but and same with food. But it's going to be really interesting to see. We're going to go in a situation where I think that what's called the debasement trade, the stagflation trade, that's out the door. I think we're going to see some negative pricing prints next year.
Okay. Now, man of the people, Jamie Dimon, finally stepped forward, and he said that we could. He's just like you and I. He made $38 million last year.
Yeah.
He's one of us. He said that you could see gold hit $5,000 or even $10,000. It wouldn't surprise you. Those speculative numbers? I've heard 7. I've heard 10,000. I had Jack Haney on last week, and who follows you, and he said, okay, even Bob's talking about how gold could shoot up and that the sky's the limit. Do you think we could see numbers like that?
Well, I think 5,000 is possible.
Okay.
I think the bankers get nervous when it gets up that high. But you got China now buying pretty aggressively, and remember, it's in Trump's best interest for gold to go up.
Yes.
So I think I explained this before. So what you can do is they can reprice gold that's sitting in Fort Knox and put it on the Treasury. And right now, at the price it is now, it's almost $1 trillion. He can add to the books, and if it goes up, every $3,000 or $4,000 is another $1 trillion.
Because that was the next question. I've heard numbers, and I've had videos sent to me: $7,000, $12,000, even $24,000 gold if it gets revalued. Would that be crazy if they did that, or what?
Well, he just can't pick the revalue price, but they can create an environment where gold will reach those prices.
Okay.
And once gold reaches those prices, he literally could use that, and then he can just buy treasuries back, right? Or what they could do, what I think is going to happen is you're going to get this round robin effect between Bitcoin and Tether, and they're going to do it that way. So he may go in there and just buy a boatload of Tether with it, And
could you see $250,000 Bitcoin? Is that a possibility?
All this is possible now because of how damaged fiat is. So, but one thing I want people to be clear of: the dollar is not going to collapse. So people just need to take a deep breath. Okay, you're looking at a strong Swiss franc. You're looking at a strong dollar. Now that mutes how fast some of these things go because they're priced in dollars. But if you lived in Japan, you lived in Korea, you better be buying as much gold and silver and crypto and American farmland as you get your hands on because it was dirt cheap in Japan.
Did you like Japan a
I
lot?
loved.
My daughter said she could live there. She loved it so much last time she went there for Formula One last year.
People had asked me, I like Korea. I liked it a lot, and we were watching all these K dramas and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. I have a customer from Korea, and so he told me where to stay and where to go and all that good stuff. But then I went to Japan. I just love Japan. I mean, it's like Korea on steroids. The people are so nice. And Korea was relatively inexpensive, but Japan was dirt cheap. I mean, what you pay $60 for to eat, we're paying $18.
Wow, which is a huge difference right
Well,
now
yeah,
because that's the biggest gripe is that San Diego just got hit on their property tax bills with a $453 bill for their trash cleanup and trash pickup, and it's like, wait a second, we can go to a ball game, you can take a family of four to a ball game for that. My wife and I could eat out 3 times for that. All these different scenarios, and they just added it to the property tax bill,
yeah,
and the city said we wanted $39 more. You guys should be happy, which again
yeah.
infuriates me when people do stuff like that. But
Yeah, well, I laugh too because my wife's saying cause she's always bugging me, because I live right over there, and she said we need to leave California. And honestly, I understand her point of view, but I don't know where else to go because it's beautiful here. And then we both looked at each other and we said, Japan.
yeah,
I
well,
mean, literally, the people were so nice. They said, "Oh, they don't welcome foreigners." Well, they like Americans. I'll tell you that.
well, that's good.
They like Americans a lot, and people were super friendly, super helpful, super interested in us. It was so funny because I have a really good friend, Japanese person, who was grew up in Tokyo, and I said, well, we're not really going to be in Tokyo. We're going to be in Yokohama one day, but we're going to spend some time in Osaka. And she laughed. She goes, well, Osaka, we call Osaka like that's like the ghetto of Japan. Like that's like their battle between Osaka and Tokyo. But she said the people from Osaka, she goes, they're the funny people of Japan. They're always joking around. They're really loose. They're going to be really friendly to you. And they were so funny and really, really welcoming people. And we just loved it. And the thing about these places, you could eat off the sidewalk.
Oh, I hear it's so clean. My daughter
Yeah,
the
yeah.
subway was clean. She said the thing that blew her away were children on the subways by themselves and had no issues,
No.
nothing, and just taking care of business. So,
Well, and the other thing too is I know we're off track, but it's really interesting to see. People actually line up. There's when you get in the subway in Japan, it's like if you're entering the subway, you're on either side of the doors, and the people leaving come straight out. It's amazing to me, and everybody lines up. There's no fight.
not
You
like
go
going
out
to
to
the
eat.
ball game.
You
Yeah.
same with ball game. And one of my neighbors is a former MMA Brazilian national champ, and so when I came back, he came over. He goes, "How was it? How was it?" And I said, "I loved it." He goes, "I knew you'd love it because I did fights over there." He said, "When I would fight in America and Brazil and Europe, the people are just crazy. In Japan, everybody's really quiet. And you get a really good hit, they go, ooh." He goes, even their enthusiasm is organized.
Yeah.
So I loved it, and it's
That's
cheap,
good.
cheap, 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 cheap. You can live in a studio apartment in Tokyo for like $1,200 or $1,300 a month.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's supposed one of the most expensive cities.
We're going to go relocate to Japan, guys. So,
The only problem is,
iAllegedly Japan.
you have to learn the language because they don't speak English very well.
Okay.
But that's what the translation app's for. We would literally talk to each other's apps.
Oh, that's cool. That's very
Yeah, it's
cool.
pretty funny.
Okay, what else have we got to cover? Oh, so let's talk about the webinar one more time. We're going to have the webinar middle of the month. Go to bobstradingclass.com to sign up for it. If you sign up between now and next Saturday, Bob's going to give you a year free on Trade Genius, which is insane. That's the Black Friday deal. And since Black Friday starts early at Walmart, and we might as well start it early with Bob too.
Yeah,
So,
we decided to do because we've done 4 of these. This will be the 4th one, and they're always well
attended.
well
They're great.
attended, and we're giving a good deal. Dan gives me an opportunity to talk to a lot of people here, but if you can't make the webinar, let's say I don't want to make the webinar, but you could still, if you sign up for any Trade Genius service, we'll give you our lowest annual fee, and you can be in the voice room. So when you call in, just say, hey, I want the webinar or I want Bob's Dan's special for Black Friday, and we'll give you a really good deal. And
Okay.
we only do this once a year, and like I said, I only do interviews with 3 people.
Yeah.
So
Those 2 other hacks and Dan.
yeah.
So okay. Well, let's see what else. I mean, so oil, do you think oil is going to drop or go up, or what do you think?
I think oil will have a hard time getting below $55, and they'll get a hard time going above $75.
Okay.
But you can make a lot of money in between. We just did 3 oil trades this week, all made money. And so if you're not greedy, get in and get out, and you don't have to even day trade. These aren't day trades.
I'm driving here, and I just got hit with the story I'm going to cover tomorrow, which is how expect your electricity bill to go up dramatically this year. And you know there are 13 hard states that are going to have blackouts, and they're saying, oh well, now that summer's gone, people are saying, well, we're going to get away from the blackout. No, this energy usage increases in the wintertime.
That's one thing, I want to talk about. That's for sure. So it's going to be one of those things where it's called insult on top of an injury. So you'll get to pay for the rollout of all these data centers. They think electric rate will double, maybe even triple. At the same time, these data centers are going to cause you to be laid off from your job. So you get the fund, your demise. And so we think in our room, we think there's going to be, that is where the civil disobedience is going to come from, is that these data centers, I mean, I'm telling you guys, the technology today is scary, and what they can do. And even if you don't use AI, I was at a hotel, I hit the kiosk, right? And there's nobody there. It's just a screen pops up. I'm talking to a person from the Philippines taking my check-in.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So in the past, you'd have somebody at $25 an hour plus benefits and attitude. Now you have a guy working for $5 an hour, and boom.
It's changing, guys. It is. I know a man who owns, and I can't say the names of the websites, but he bought certain names, and I own hundreds of domain names, and this guy owns over 1,000. And he bought names, you know, like 10 years ago when certain back ends came out, and oh my God, they're worth. He told me 2 yesterday they're worth over $1 million. But he keeps setting up these AI sites that he's so frustrated with hiring his IT people, the IT engineers. He's like, I'm never doing it again, Dan. Taught himself how to do this, and is getting these amazing sites that I'm going to start sharing with you guys next week because they are unbelievable. And one's a news aggregator that I absolutely love, but it'll do a voiceover reading for you of the news. Super cool.
Yeah, I was joking with my marketing partner. I said, just do a body over of a 25-year-old person for me, and he goes, "We could do that, you know." I'm like, oh my gosh, so, you know, scary stuff.
Okay, guys, so we took a lot of your time today, but please check out bobstradingclass.com. Go to tradegenius.com. I'll have all the links below for you. And, you know, always, you know, one thing about your webinars when we do these is I love the question and answer period at the end after you do your class, and the questions that people get, because people are beginners, people are advanced, and Bob takes care of everybody in that, and it's worth attending. And again, it'll be around the middle of November. We'll get the exact date. It will be midweek. It will not affect your weekend. It will not be at night, but it will be based on Pacific time. Usually we do it around 2 o'clock Pacific time is when Bob does those.
Yeah, and unlike any other webinar or seminars, there's no teasers on this. I mean, I give you everything, and we write this stuff. See trade, take trade. I mean, it's really, you know, if you walk out of here, if you can't work this, then we have a different problem.
Yeah,
it's so straightforward.
So thank you for squeezing me in, brother. Okay, I know
that was pretty funny. Okay. Can you come down? I'm like, oh, okay. Sure.
I'm not dressed for it, neither am I. So
well, look at, I'm just on a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
okay, guys. Well, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you want to get a hold of me, it's hello@iallegedly.com. And onward and upward, guys. And stay safe right now. Stay safe because shenanigans are about to happen. Okay.
You bet.
See you soon.